Hey guys, and welcome to the Geeks and Greeks podcast. The podcast focuses mostly on the NFL, but we also do talk about other sports such as the NBA and MLB, as well as video games and what else is going on in our lives. Step into the conversation of three friends who love sports and who love doing this. You can find us on YouTube, as well as Spotify, Amazon, and Apple podcast platforms, and we're also on Facebook, all with the same moniker, Geeks and Greeks. Thanks for stopping by. We hope you guys enjoy the show. All right, that's the sound of cheers for the next episode of the Geeks and Greeks podcast. Welcome back, everybody, and welcome to a new week and a new show.
What's going on, guys? We're having a little drink over here in the Lindsay household. Little celebration, boys. Little celebration.
Yeah?
Yeah, a little bit. My birds had a bit of a good week, I'd say. Just a bit.
Oh, man. Oh, that...
Yeah, it's been a good week, man. It's just been one of those things.
Yeah.
Weren't you also playing Who are you playing this week?
Oh, Jesus. Baltimore?
No, that was last
No,
week.
Carolina.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
Carolina.
weren't you playing a bad team?
Yes. Okay. First off, Carolina's not a bad team. They are definitely better than their record shows. If you've watched a Carolina game, you'd get it. They always come down to one score. But at the same time, they are still their record. And yes, they were technically a bad team, but that's not what we're celebrating, right? We'll get to it later, but it is a week for celebration, my guy. I mean, what's that in the background? That's LaShawn McCoy. He's behind us now. Let's not even worry about Shady.
So we can actually get to a place where we can talk about this stuff. Let's jump on into QB Survivor. Now, it is with a heavy heart that this is our last golden immunity, and it is for Lamar Jackson because he's on the bye this week. But that leaves us to decide between Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Jordan Love, Jared Goff, Patrick Mahomes, and Matthew Stafford. And Adam, who are you putting on the chopping block?
So, this was actually kind of a tough choice this week because pretty much all of these guys had pretty good games.
Yep.
It's just one of those things where we're getting down now to the best quarterbacks in the league now at this point. And so, I mean, little things add up. And for me, the little things adding up, I'm putting Patrick Mahomes up this week.
Surprise.
He didn't have a great week. Again, 200 yards, 65% completion, 1 touchdown, and only a 60 QBR. Of the guys left, he had the worst QBR rating of the week. By far.
All right, Pete.
Just to respond a little bit, I'll agree he had a rough week. I'm not going to say he didn't make my list. Lamar Jackson, good on him for getting a late round bye because, we're splitting hairs at this point. One interception or one fumble could have caused you the game. I actually did have Mahomes on my list, but he was on number 3. My number 1 was Jordan Love. So losing to Jared Goff in Detroit was expected. But he only had 200 yards, only 1 touchdown. Not the worst game, but like I said, it's difficult these days to pick somebody.
Yeah.
I put on the worst QBR with an interception this week, and that is Joe Burrow.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was also on my list.
Now, I understand that Joe Burrow had high yards. He had 369 and a 75% completion rating and 3 touchdowns. But his QBR was 73.2, which is the second worst in QBs this week. In our group of QBs, not overall, just our 6. And had an interception. That's like kryptonite to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I get it. And like I said, I mean, like I kind of said earlier too, I mean, it's getting hard at the end of the year. One little thing here and there really takes it. And I mean, like we were kind of talking about with Lamar Jackson last week, and he kind of escaped it barely. But I mean, sacks can hurt your team too, and Mahomes took 3, and they were pretty badly timed as well. Again, this team's lucky to be 12-1. Like, I think total points that they've won by this entire season is like 20. Like if you total the game, every game they played, they've won by a total of 20 points for the entire season. Maybe not even that. Like, they've scraped by in just about every single game. At some point, it's going to come crashing down on them. And I don't know if it's Mahomes having just a mediocre season by the great one's standards, or if this team is just that much worse than last year. Because last year's team wasn't that good that we thought, but they still had played a lot better than they have been playing now. And it's just weird.
Yeah, I think we're seeing holes in the Chiefs for sure. And I don't think they're going to hold up in the playoffs. I mean, they may even win out. I wouldn't, I'm not sure what their schedule is for the rest of the season, but I don't know if they'll be able to make it to the Super Bowl because they've shown so much weakness on the field. And when you get to the playoffs, you can't show any weakness or you're going to lose the game. The first mistake loses the game in the playoffs.
Yeah. I think really the biggest thing comes down to is they have no receiving weapons anymore. I think their receivers are either rookies or they're just not very good. And Travis Kelce is just old at this point. Like, Kelce's, 32, 33? He's been in the league for a while now. So it's like, your number one target who you've kind of, ridden the entirety of Mahomes' career for this point, he's just old. He's got a lot of miles on that body, and he's breaking down, I think.
Travis Kelce,
and I think this is kind of the beginning of the end for Kelce. I think if he doesn't retire after this season, he's got maybe 2 seasons left. Maybe.
Yeah. And honestly, I bet they're both down seasons. I bet he doesn't put up another 1,000-yard season. I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't get to.
Yeah. And, I mean, they very could well win out. They've got the Browns this week. They play the Texans, the Steelers, and then the Broncos. But 3 of those 4 games are also on the road. The only home game they have left is against Houston. So they play in Cleveland, in Pittsburgh, in Denver. So, I mean, they very well could win out. They've won all but one this year. I mean, any of those games could be a trap game, though. I mean, we saw Cleveland beat Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh was looking like a pretty good team at that point. So, I mean, if Jameis and the Lord can come together and stop throwing pick sixes, Cleveland very well could win out against Kansas City this week.
Yeah.
All right, Adam, who are you voting for to be eliminated?
So, it's funny because the other 2 guys that you nominated were both also on my list. So, my top 3 have all been nominated for this week. I'm probably going to go with Jordan Love just because he was the only guy that was nominated that lost. And, again, 200 yards and only 1 touchdown. You got to do more.
Yeah. All right, Pete, who are you voting for?
I am going to vote for Joe Burrow. I think it is time we stop pretending that the Bengals are good. I think it's time we stop pretending that Joe Burrow is going to save that team. You talk about pieces like teams that are maybe one piece away, two pieces away. They're not. I don't know how many pieces away they are, but they're not a playoff contender, and I don't think they're gonna be. They're frauds. It's time to get Joe Burrow out of here.
Wow, this is kind of funny. I was coming into this thinking that all three of us were going to be dogpiling on Patrick Mahomes. He had literally, you won this one with a clank of the uprights. Which, I can't do it anymore. My heart cannot take it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna roll this one on to RN Jesus.
Oh, here we go.
All right.
Come on, RN Jesus.
Do the right thing. We gotta take Patrick Mahomes out.
Coming through. There we go.
Yeah. Give her a spin.
Wheel of morality. Turn, turn, turn.
And
Joe Burrow.
All right.
All right.
Mahomes, hey, just like the rest of the season, Mahomes barely escapes by the skin of his teeth.
Right? I mean, the only thing that keeps that guy going is RN Jesus.
Oh,
And if you believe the rest of the NFL fans, the referees.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you guys want to see something hilarious, this past week's game, the Chiefs against the Chargers, that is the exact same ending they had against the Broncos in Week 12 of 2016. And I mean downright, all the way down to last-second field goal, hits the left upright and bounces in.
That's fantastic.
I was like, what?
How many times is Kansas City going to win with either a clutch field goal or a missed field goal? Like, it's insane.
I mean, the writers are getting lazy.
Seen this episode before. Oh,
They're running out of ideas.
And with that, Joe Burrow, you are...
You shall not pass!
Oh, cool.
thank you, Gandalf.
And that leaves us with 6.
6 for 4 weeks.
Oof.
Ooh.
We're getting there.
Moving on to winners and losers, our Week 14 recap. Adam had the Buccaneers winning over Las Vegas. Sure did, 28-13, with the largest margin of victory among our picks. Pete went with Chiefs over the Chargers with a clank of the uprights.
Yeah.
And I went with Eagles over Carolina. Yeah.
Woo woo.
And then moving on to the loser side of the fence, Adam took Jaguars to lose to Tennessee. Unfortunately, the Jaguars, in rare form, pulled it out.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was feeling after that one.
Yeah.
Pete went with Packers to lose to Detroit.
Yes, sir.
The Lions are not letting us down on that one, 34-31. And I took the Chargers to lose to Kansas City.
By the clank
My
of a
heart
field goal.
cannot take this.
You almost cursed me with your curse there, buddy.
Jeez.
We need to check our picks, make sure we're not up against each other anymore.
But with Week 14 in the books, the things start to tighten up with Adam in the lead at 19. I crossed the 500 mark and am at 17, and Pete at 15.
Woo!
Yeah. I'm catching up. Let's go.
I missed one this week.
I know. That's your first one you've missed in a long time.
It
Yeah,
is.
there's a whole lot of green on Adam's chart. I can tell you that.
I've been looking at this, and I've been on the NBA app a lot, and they're doing like a you pick 'em bracket. I'm like, I think I should enter this. I feel like I might do pretty well.
All right, moving into Week 15 projections.
If one of y'all says some silly ass name, this whole class is gonna feel my wrath.
Adam, who you picking to win in Week 15?
So, my winner for this week has the largest odds as a favorite this week. I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens to beat the New York Football Giants. Because I realized I hadn't used Baltimore yet, and when I saw this matchup, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'll take an easy one for my winners this week.
That's almost cheating, man.
Right? It's like they're like a 13.5 point favorite.
Right? Baltimore had that like demoralizing loss, and then they had the whole bye week to think about it. They're going to kick the Giants' ass on Sunday.
I really hope so. I really hope so.
Pete, who are you choosing as a winner in Week 15?
So, I did pretty good on this whole picking close games thing. So I again am going for ones that have 3-point spreads or less. So I am going for the Carolina Panthers to beat the Dallas Cowboys.
I did not think I was going to get to share this fun fact. Okay. The Panthers are a 1-point favorite in this game, and this is the first time they've been a favorite to win a game since Week 15 of 2022 against the Steelers, who were 5-8 at the time and still beat them.
Yeah, ESPN's going to be a favorite, and it doesn't surprise me at all. Like at this point, I kind of want Dallas to lose out and just get a better draft pick. Like,
yeah,
honestly, like there's almost 0% chance for a playoff spot. You're already terrible. Embrace the tank. Get a decent draft pick. And
Embrace the tank.
And bolster up the offense. At this point, get a top 5 and get you Alshon Janney.
So what you're trying to say is trust the process.
Yeah, but it's a little bit different for football because there's a lottery involved. So if you're the worst team, you're guaranteed the best pick.
Right? It doesn't take 8 years for the process to work.
It hasn't technically worked because they haven't won a championship.
I know. It's ridiculous.
And just because the universe just loves to keep running me over, I picked the Chiefs to win over Cleveland.
Oh, for the love of God, what is going on with my camera?
They are only a 4.5 point favorite on ESPN to win that game.
I know.
But at the same time, to be fair, like I said, their average margin of victory is like 3. So, I mean, they're not covering that spread.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, if you look at their victories, I think we talked about this either last week or 2 weeks ago. I think their largest margin of victory this year has been 10.
Yeah.
Like, other than that, it's like 3, 1, 3, 1, 2 here, 5 points here. Like, again, like we've talked about this. They squeak by barely every game.
I think they had one early season game that was 13, but
I think that was like their biggest margin of victory, and that was the only double-digit margin of victory they've had.
All right, Adam, who is your loser this week?
So my loser is actually a favorite on ESPN. So they're favorited by 3 points to win. But I'm picking them to lose because I'm picking the 49ers to lose to the Los Angeles Rams on the Thursday night game.
That's a solid upset pick.
There it is.
So I was kind of shocked that San Francisco was the favorite in this because they have not been playing well, and the Rams have. So, like, I don't know if this is just a betting odds or what, but I was shocked that they're favorited by 3 points on this game. So I'm taking the upset here. I'm picking the 49ers to lose, and the Rams are going to upset them.
Well, you'll find out real quick. It's tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Find out before this podcast is up.
Pete, who is your loser for Week 15?
So I am also taking an upset here. I will be taking the Houston Texans to be losing to the Miami Dolphins. Just to top a little bit on that, I'm going to go ahead and predict it right now. I think the Dolphins are going to win out. They're going to go 10-7. Just saying.
At this point, anything's possible.
Well, I mean, their schedule's not terrible. I mean, they got the Texans, then they got the Niners, Browns, Jets. So, like, this is their biggest game for the rest of the year.
I don't know. I don't know. At this point, I kind of feel like Cleveland's going to play that upset team for like everybody this season.
Yeah.
Like at any one point in the game, like Cleveland can just strike and take the game.
Yeah.
Especially if they're playing in Cleveland, they got to go to cold weather.
Yeah.
Do well.
What in the heck is going on?
Especially not from Miami.
Right.
Where are they playing? Yeah, they're in Cleveland, and they're in New York too.
Cleveland, I mean, well, the Jets are the Jets, and they'll Jets it up.
Yeah.
So, Cleveland actually might have a shot at winning that. I actually saw something kind of interesting a week or so ago. And so Tyreek Hill, the receiver for the Dolphins, has had another kid this season. And so he has, this year so far, he has had 5 children.
Jesus Christ.
I saw that.
He has 4 reception touchdowns this year. Children than reception touchdowns. I think his grand total is 11 now or something like that. Like, he's got 11 kids.
What the hell? Why?
So if this NFL thing doesn't work out, he can always host American Idol or something.
If this NFL thing doesn't work out, he can host his own basketball team versus his own basketball team.
11 kids, man. That's an entire offense.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, man.
What?
He can field a baseball team, man.
5 kids in 1 year? Like, there's no chance that's not even like. They have to be 5 different women, right? Like, I mean,
I think
maybe a
4,
couple of them can double up. Like, unless there's twins. That's insane. 5 kids in 1 year. Like, damn. No wonder he's going to get such a big contract. He's going to be paying so much in child support. He's going to be broke by the time he's 35.
This kind of feels like reminiscence of Adrian Peterson. That's why he played for so long.
I'm just going to wait until he pulls like an old dirty bastard and gets a limo with all his kids and pulls up to the welfare store to get his food stamps.
To the food bank in his Lambo.
Right? There's 11 kids in his stretch limo behind him.
One of those H2 Hummer limos.
Personal driver.
With a bodyguard.
Right?
All right, so that brings us to the elimination postmortem for the. This week saw the Lions and the Eagles join the Chiefs and the Bills in officially clinching a spot in the playoffs.
Let's go.
And also we saw the Jaguars, the Browns, the Titans, and the Jets join the Patriots, Raiders, and Giants in being mathematically eliminated. Now, technically, the Jaguars were eliminated last week, but they were eliminated after Monday's game, and I did this report on Monday morning, so that's why they got pushed to this weekend.
Yeah.
Looks like the Jaguars' big claim to fame is beating the Colts, so screw you. And,
I mean, that's pretty sad if your biggest claim to fame this season is beating a team that's not even 500. Like, yeah. I mean, Indy's played well this year, though. Like, I mean, we'll talk about it when we get to that elimination at some point. But yeah.
Their big draft pick was Brian Thomas Jr., a wide receiver. They picked him up on the 23rd pick. He's done pretty well, 815 yards, averaging 15.8 per reception. 6 touchdowns and 37 first downs.
That's actually really good for a rookie, man.
Yeah.
Especially being really the only real target they had. Because I think, Christian Kirk and, because Calvin Ridley left this past offseason, went to Tennessee. I mean, so you had Christian Kirk and him as your two main targets. I mean, I think that's pretty good for as bad as this team was. That's an upside. That's a target that Trevor Lawrence needs. I mean, I don't think we expected the Jaguars to be this bad this year, but they also weren't really expected to be a playoff team either, I don't think. I think they were, at best, going to be fighting for, that final wild card spot.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if you look at it, Brian Thomas has 85 targets. Christian Kirk only has 47. I mean, it's not even close. The next close is actually the tight end, Evan Ingram, with 64.
he's a good tight end.
I think he is, yeah, for sure. But I think the Jaguars really comes down to coaching. And as much as I love Doug Peterson, I think he's got to go. I don't think he's got the head coach chops anymore. He caught lightning in a bottle in Philadelphia. I honestly think that was it. I'm not sure he's going to make it anywhere. He just managed to make it here once, which is great. And I'll buy him dinner anytime I ever see him. But at the same time, I think it's time for him to stop coaching, being the head coach of a football team.
You're going to buy him a cheesesteak next time you see him?
Absolutely, man. I run into him every Thursday at ShopRite. I'll buy him a cheesesteak.
He still lives up there, okay.
That would be crazy. At the Eddie Stone ShopRite.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I think they're building a decent core right now. It's just time. I mean, there were probably a couple years removed now from them being good, which sucks because Trevor Lawrence isn't exactly a fresh face in the league anymore.
Right.
He's already off his rookie contract.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, I mean, clock's ticking on him at this point. I mean, for the offense, besides coaching and stuff, just player-wise, I think you need an offensive line. Their offensive line was terrible this season. Absolutely terrible.
Moving on to the Browns, who currently sit at 3-10. They didn't do a whole lot in the draft. You want to know why? Because they didn't have any picks. They traded them all to pick up Deshaun Watson.
Oh, shit. I forgot they traded picks to get him, too. He gave them all that money and traded all their picks for him. And he sucked.
Yeah, they gave up their first and fourth this year, and I forget what it is for next year, but it was devastating.
He won one game with them, and it was against Jacksonville. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it is pretty sad, to be honest. I don't know how you even do that, because he wasn't that it boggles my mind how they gave up draft picks for him. Anything more than a 6th-round pick.
Yeah.
If you gave up a 6th-round pick for him, okay, cool, fine. 6th, 7th round, maybe a 5th. But the fact that they actually legitimately gave up good draft picks is insane.
I think we should hire his publicist. It's clearly got some good marketing value there.
Okay, here it is. They gave up the 2022 first and fourth, 23 first and third, the 24 first and fourth, and got in return Deshaun Watson and the 6th rounder for this year.
Oh my god. Wow.
Sounds pretty even to me.
I don't think the Eagles even gave up that much to get Carson Wentz.
No. I don't think they did.
I don't think they did.
That year and the next year. I think that was it.
Yeah.
This sounds
so in 2025, so in this coming draft, the 2025, they have all of their picks minus their 7th-round pick. But they also have a 3rd from Buffalo, a 5th from Detroit, and 2 other 6th-round picks, one from Minnesota, and one from Chicago, but it's Miami's pick. So they don't have their own 5th round pick, but they have their own pick plus a couple others. So they should, well, they'll draft players. I can't say they'll get anybody good, but they'll draft players.
Whatever Cleveland does, it will be bad for Cleveland. Like, I don't even want to say what can they do better. They can be not from the city of Cleveland. Like, look at the Ravens. That's how you fix yourself. You move out of the city, because it just, whatever Cleveland does, it's bad for Cleveland.
They already did once. They became Baltimore.
That's what I'm saying. That's how you fix the team. Move out of the city. It's the only way to do it.
I think, honestly, the biggest way they fix the team is I think the best thing they can do is keep this head coach and coaching staff, because I don't think the coaching is bad. I think that's been their biggest issue, is that they keep firing their coach after like a year and a half. And they have no consistency in coaching or general managers for that point. Like, I think that's the biggest thing. Keep Kevin Stefanski, who's their head coach now, keep him, give him at least 3 years to do something with this team. I think if you give him 3 years, you can build something off of this. Because it was just, a year or 2 years ago that they were either a wild card team or missed it by like a half a game. Like, they were good not that long ago. I think it was before they got Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, it was when they had Baker, though.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, though. If you give a coach enough time to build his system into this team, you can build something. The problem is that they don't do that.
I just hope they didn't hamstring him by the contract with Deshaun, because what's he going to build if he's got to come back to Deshaun Watson being their starter
right,
again?
I mean, well, he's automatically hamstrung by that contract, but anybody you bring in is going to be hamstrung by that contract.
I know.
Honestly, at this point, I think it'd be best for the team just to fucking cut him.
Yeah.
Cut bait and just eat the cap. I mean, you're not a free agent destination. So
right.
You can trade for guys, or like I said, you've got a lot of picks. I mean, you've got more than 7 picks in this draft coming up this offseason. So I mean, you've got a first, second, 2/3, and a fourth. Like, you can build something off of that if you do your homework and do it right. Which, I mean, that's true for anybody, obviously, but it's like, I think they can build something if they just keep consistency in the front office and the coaching staff. That's the key. That's been the biggest problem with Cleveland, is that there has been no consistency at the top. None.
Moving on to the Titans, currently sitting at 3-10. Their draft was very utilitarian. They didn't go after any of the sexy positions. They stuck to tackles, guards, and linebackers. But I don't know. What do you say about the Titans?
I don't know if I have anything to say about them, to be entirely honest with you. Lackluster wins against Miami, New England, and Houston. Other than that, I didn't watch any of their games. I can't help you with this one.
Yeah, there's not much to say. I think this is just, again, a lot of these teams on the bottom down here are either just bad teams or they're young teams building, and this is a young team building. Will Levis is only in his second year. He only played maybe half of his rookie season. Like I said, you drafted offensive linemen, which is good. You need to draft offensive linemen if you're going to draft a quarterback like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're building a team. It's just they're young, and it's just a rebuild. That's all this is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like New England was last week. It's young, and it's a rebuild. We expect them to be bad.
Now for a team that you cannot call them young at all, the Jets, setting at 3-10.
Aaron Rodgers. This is everything that went wrong with this team starts with Aaron Rodgers.
This is the Jets' 14th consecutive season without a playoff appearance. They currently hold the record across all 4 major sports. Until April, when the Buffalo Sabres will tie them once again at 14.
Yeah, it's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, the only difference in this team from last year to this year was they replaced Zach Wilson with Aaron Rodgers. and nothing got better. It actually got worse.
Yeah.
Did you ever think you'd hear yourself saying that? I replaced Zach Wilson with Aaron Rodgers and my football team got worse.
I mean, I can hear you saying that and how weird that sentence sounds, but it is 2024. Like, if you follow that sentence up with in 2024 and everyone goes, oh, that makes sense. Because, like, this team's terrible. Adding Devontae Adams was such a bad idea. Firing their coach, maybe that was a good idea. I don't know. But, like, the problem with this team is they had so much, like, pizzazz and flash and then did nothing with it. Because Aaron Rodgers is old and sucks and should get off the stage.
Speaking of not doing anything with what they have, let's talk about the Jets draft this year. I'd love to. They didn't do anything. They got rid of almost all their draft picks. The only thing they kept was a 1, a 3, and a really, really late 4 at 134.
Damn.
They picked up an OT, a wide receiver in the 3rd round, and then a running back in the 4th, which I'm sure just lit it up.
I actually think that their running back did. I'm pretty sure he was the second to Breece Hall this year.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's Braylon Allen.
Yeah, like he actually was pretty good.
Oops. Yeah, my bad. I was reading the 49ers running back that used the Jets pick to pick up their running back.
But yeah, like Braylon Allen actually had a pretty decent year, honestly, for being a number 2. When he came, when Breece Hall went down, he stepped in for those couple weeks and played pretty well. I mean, Pete's right. I mean, the Devontae Adams thing, that's one of those where it's like, you know what? At that point in the season, why not swing for it and try? I mean, they were successful before. I mean, at least you can. At least I'll give them this. With as far as that goes, they tried. They tried to do something to make to swing for the fences. It failed, but at least they didn't just sit on their hands and didn't do anything. I mean, firing coach mid-season, the NFL is just weird because, I mean, most of the time the interim guy that comes in is never going to be the head coach afterwards. But you can't bring in an actual head coach midway through the season.
Right.
So it's like that's always a weird thing with that, and I don't know if you can even do anything about it. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, either do you just ride it out, and if the guy's completely lost the team in locker room, do you just let the team completely go down the drain, or do you just at least get him out and move on to maybe a coordinator or a position coach the team likes for the season, and maybe something might swing around or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I struggle with the Jets because you're right. They did try, and they failed. And it just kind of makes me worried about the future. Because it's like, is this going to be used as a case study to say, if you get halfway through the season and you have no playoff hope, just tank? And I don't want that to ever happen in the NFL. I hate teams that tank. It drives me insane. I think it ruins the sport. And what's the benefit for trying when the Jets have done so terrible? So, I mean, I see your point. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah. I'm not saying that I'm for it, but it's just one of those things where I don't know what else you're supposed to do at that point. I really don't. Like I said, at least, if nothing else, they at least tried to swing for the fences when they got Devontae Adams. So it could have been a lot worse, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Now it's time to talk about a running back approaching the record of an NFL legend. That's right, I'm talking about Ashton Jeanty of the Boise State Broncos, who had an amazing year approaching Barry Sanders' 1988 FBS record for the most rushing yards in a season. Before Ashton Jeanty's last game, he was a mere 340 yards away from hitting Barry Sanders' record. But unfortunately, with this final game, he came up about 131 yards short. He'll always have the post from Barry Sanders wishing him the best of luck. and saying that he doesn't mind if his fans gripe, but records are meant to be broken, and I'm rooting for you. I love seeing all these NFL and NCAA running backs show the value of the position, which I thought was amazing because so many times on this show we've commented on the devaluing of the running back.
Wait, there's more.
I mean, 350s. That's hard to. That's good. That would have been hard to pass that, even in college. Like that's a lot.
Yeah. When I heard that he had to hit 340 in one game, I was like, if he pulls that off, he's earned that record.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's really who I want Dallas to pick up in the first round this year. Either that or like an offensive lineman. I mean, because those are their two biggest issues: is their offensive line is getting old and needs rebolstered, and their running backs, they're just non-existent. They don't really have an actual NFL running back.
Yeah, he is a junior this year, and he's already projected to be one of the top picks in the 2025 draft and a consideration for the Heisman Trophy. As a running back, nobody likes running backs, and he's already dominating like this.
Well, I think the favorite for the Heisman this year is actually it's Travis Hunter. I think he's a receiver / linebacker. Mm-hmm. He plays both sides. So the favorite right now is not even a quarterback for the Heisman Trophy.
We live in an upside-down world.
I know, right? It's weird.
Moving along to the professional side of this exact same situation. In 1984, Eric Dickerson set the single-season rushing record at 2105. Saquon Barkley is 482 rushing yards away from that record after 14 games.
13 games.
13 games. Sorry, I keep counting the bye week.
You good. So I prepared a little visual aid to help us get through this with all of the stats necessary. So here we got, up top, we got the yards total to date. So we are at, 1623. Sorry, it's backwards on my screen. I can't read my own handwriting backwards. We're at 1623. That's why we got this next part right here crossed out already, right? This is the Eagles' single-season record set by my boy Shady McCoy in the back there, 1607, single season, right? We got the NFL record here. It's a 2105. So for Saquon to beat this record, right, he's got to score 121 yards per game. And so I did a little math for us here down at the bottom. We've got the Steelers, Commanders, Cowboys, and Giants for the rest of the season. And the average yards that their defense is allowing is 91 for the Steelers, which is the only one that's under that 121 mark. So we got the Commanders have been averaging 137 of yards allowed for their running backs. Cowboys and Giants are both at 142. So, I mean, this is well within his range. This is nothing like scoring 340 yards. I just wanted to break it all down there. I think my guy's going to get it done in 16. I'm not entirely sure if he is. We'll see. But that's the real reason we're drinking Saquon number one. We're going to get it. Let's go. I finished my drink, so let me pour another one, and then we'll cheers it. My bad. So cheers to Saquon. Shady, you did us well, but cheers to Saquon.
Oh, that hurts.
Number one in Philadelphia, number one in our hearts.
Yeah, I absolutely love Saquon Barkley. He's probably been my favorite running back since he's come into the league. And I was so happy to see him go to a competent team. Like, I mean, as much as I hated that it was the Eagles, I'm like, you know what, though? If anybody's going to, like, fully use him the way he should be used, Philly's one of those places.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's nice to see one of the best players in the league on one of the best teams in the league. It really is.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, he's what makes us one of the best teams in the league. I'm not gonna lie. There's been stuff in the news recently that AJ Brown's upset he's not getting enough targets and all this other garbage with I think it was CJ Garner Johnson said that people aren't talking to each other in the locker room properly, and it's like, of course there has to be drama, like always drama. But in reality, like Saquon putting the team on his back is what saved us. It's what got us through all the injuries that we were dealing with. We had A.J. Brown and Javonte Smith out at the same time. The only way we got through that was putting the ball in Saquon's hand and letting him run. And I mean, I don't understand it. The man cannot get any production in the first quarter. The Eagles can't get any production in the first quarter. It drives me batshit. It's gotten so bad. I barely watched the first quarter this week. I literally talked through the whole thing, kind of was coming in and out of the room, and then the second quarter started, and I was like, all right, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to pay attention to the football game. Because the first quarter is always just garbage at the Eagles games.
Yeah, and you know what? The one thing will help all the locker room issues. That's winning.
Yeah.
Winning solves all issues on the team.
Sure does.
I mean, week 5 we were talking about Sirianni's going to get fired?
Yeah.
I mean, no one said a word about it since week 6, 7. Ever since they've turned it around, no one said a word about Nick Sirianni.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of things maybe here and there. It's like, do you think he might survive even with winning? I mean, you never know, but I don't see him being fired after this turnaround that they've had.
Yeah, I mean, right now the worst record, knock on wood, that they could have is 11-6. He's not going to get fired on an 11-6 season. It's just that's insane.
I just went through a list of teams that would kill to be 11-6.
Yeah, exactly.
Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys.
And to close out the topic, I want to address the anti-Eagles fans out there who are giving Saquon grief, saying it's not fair to compare a 1984 record of 16 games to an 18-game achievement 40 years later. And to that, I say, shut up. Now,
agreed.
Yeah, I mean, you get this all the time with people about the records. I mean, they play more games. It's part of the evolution of the game. You knew that. I mean, at the same time, when no one can ever break the Dolphins' record because they went 16-0, including the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
they
17
more games. Yeah, I mean, so they played 3 playoff games in a 14-game season.
Right.
I mean, if they would have had a 17-game season, would they have gone 20-0? I don't know. Maybe not.
I mean,
because they had a shortened season. That's why that record is still there.
Yeah, the closest we've gotten to that again is 18-1.
Yeah,
with the Patriots.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, I hope he breaks it, and I think a lot of the older guys like Sanders and Dickerson, they don't care that it's going to be broken. They had it. I mean, and most of them are, like I said, like Barry said in the Twitter post, look, records are meant to be broken. If he does it, awesome, great job. You earned it. You put the work in for it.
Yeah, I understand that they say that the silver medal is the worst one to win, but this isn't winning a silver medal. Eric Dickerson, not Dickerson, whatever his last name is, the guy who's got the record now.
Yeah, it's Eric Dickerson.
Oh, it is Dickerson. My bad. So Eric Dickerson, he had his time as number 1. Now he's going to be number 2. He'll always be able to be yeah, I'm the number 2 running back. I used to have the record. No one's going to look at an old man and be like, oh, loser, you didn't go beat Saquon's numbers. It's a stupid argument to make. I completely agree.
Right. And I hope Saquon gets the MVP. I don't think he's going to. I think it's going to go to Josh Allen, unfortunately.
It's going to go to a quarterback, I'm sure.
Yeah, so I was actually trying to find what the MVP standings were, and I couldn't find anything through NFL or ESPN for an official MVP ranking. The best thing I could find was a NFL Spin Zone. I don't know if it's an offshoot or what, but right now with that one, Jared Allen's number 1 and Saquon's 2. I mean, Allen's had a pretty good year. Lamar Jackson's had a better year, and Lamar Jackson's third, but
Yeah.
the Bills are also 14-2 at this point, or 13-2. So I mean, the Bills have a better record than all the rest of the guys that are on this list. Surprisingly, number 4, Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold.
I mean, though, if you look at his stats, I mean,
I don't even remember what team he's on. Who's he playing for now? Who?
Kings.
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Oh my God.
He's out in the
Sam
ether
Darnold right
somewhere.
I mean, he's got more passing yards than both Lamar Jackson and Jared Allen, and a better completion percentage than both of them too.
Yeah. I mean, I said it before. I'll say it again. I think that the fact that Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry are both in the MVP race, it disqualifies both of them. I think that's probably why you see Lamar Jackson dropping to 3 there. I'm not entirely shocked that Josh Allen's beating out Saquon, but I mean, I'm pretty sure the MVP is a secret ballot, right? It's not a public ballot. So that's probably why you can't find standings.
Maybe. I don't know. I know I think
the final ballot is public, but not who did what. It's just the
right. Yeah, it's a secret ballot when you vote. Yeah.
Yeah, I think most of those are secret ballots. Like, they know. I think most people kind of know some in media and stuff of who gets the votes, but not who they vote for and everything, unless they tell them.
I'm just saying, if you're paying attention in November, like, polls don't usually dictate the outcome. So if Saquon's coming in number 2 in the polls, according to U.S. politics, he's going to win MVP. So I'm down with it.
There could be worse things.
Nope. All right.
Moving along to the long-flung past
I froze.
October of this year, where we saw the Mets lose to the Dodgers in a 4-2 series, and then the Dodgers would go on to defeat the Yankees in the World Series.
Fuck the Yankees.
Well, apparently Soto shares Adam's sentiment about fuck the Yankees, as the most prestigious free agent of this offseason has now signed with the Mets. And
Dude, like that
is a power swing.
That's the best part of this whole thing. Not only did the Yankees lose out on the guy that was on their team last year, he was on the Yankees and went to the World Series with them. He snubbed them for their crosstown rival.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's fantastic.
It's amazing. I love it so much.
You got to hear this part. The Yankees have a standard operation procedure that they will release a player to the free market and then present a competitive bid. That is the dumbest procedure I've ever heard in my life.
Yep.
Yep.
You know what the second dumbest procedure I've ever heard in my life that comes also from the Yankees is? You have to be clean shaven. No facial hair allowed.
I mean, clearly none of us would make it on the Yankees.
Nope, not a chance. But no, so, and also Juan Soto, who got this deal, he's young. Like, most guys don't hit free agency like this until they're like at least in their 30s or just about to be 30. He's 26.
Yep.
Oh,
He
damn.
came up and was getting major league time at 19 years old.
Damn.
He signed a 15-year contract with the Mets for $765 million.
The length of time of baseball contracts is just baffling to me. Like, it just blows my mind how long those contracts are. Like, 15 years? Like, this is a sports guy. Like, this is a guy that's probably going to have Tommy John surgery in a couple of years. Like, this is a guy that's probably going to blow out his ACL when he's trying to walk an old lady across the street. Like, this is a guy that might step funny and completely rip his Achilles off the bone. And we're going to give him 15-year contract and just be like, yeah, you'll be good.
And none of it's deferred either.
Yeah.
It's all straight up. But yeah, so he came in at 19 years old and just was instantly a really, really good player. 2 years ago, the Washington Nationals offered him 13 years, 440, and he turned it down. And parlay that now into 15 years, 765.
I just had this funny thought about if he does get Tommy John surgery, they'll be like, perfect, you get the surgery, and then you go join that 50-50 thing that Ohtani did.
I mean, he's not a pitcher, he's a right fielder. Honestly,
Yeah.
he's probably best suited for DH because he's not a great fielder. Like, he's okay in the field, but he's just that good at the plate. But yeah, this is the biggest contract in North American history, and maybe even all of sports, to be honest with you. I don't know about soccer, like in everything in Europe and all that. I'm not sure with their contracts and everything, but I can tell you in North America, this is by far the biggest North American contract ever in sports.
You said the what? 700 million?
765.
765. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if that's worldwide because, like, I don't think I've even heard of soccer players getting over 500 million.
The thing
You know
I
what's
thought-
better? You know what's even better? Did you see or hear what the Yankees offer was?
It was just under that. But
So the
either
Yankees
one-
offered him 16 years, 760 million.
Oh
He
my
said,
god,
"Fuck you," and went with 15,765 and went over to the Mets.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
The funny thing was either contract would have made him the most wealthiest ball player in the country, but he
Yep.
just was like, I'll take that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hope the Yankees go the way of the Giants. Selling off their best player, not giving him the contract, and
Fire sale.
there you go.
Right? Well, they've already got. I mean, the Mets already have a really high paid player right now too. I mean, they've got Francisco Lindor, who's making a shit ton of money as well. I'm trying to find his contract real quick if I can. But I know he's making like $400 million as well, easily. So I mean, they've got over $1 billion just in these two players.
Boys, I think we picked the wrong profession.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I also tell you that I can't hit a curveball, so I tried that. I wasn't good as a kid.
I was a power hitter, man. I either hit a home run or I struck out. Those were my two options. You want to take a guess which one I did more often?
I'm guessing striking out since you're sitting here as an IT help.
I quit playing baseball at 13 because it was striking out, my friend.
Right? But yeah, like I was never a power hit. I was always one of those guys I can put it in the field and maybe get you a double or something, but I was never a power hitter. I was more of a pitcher, honestly. I was a better pitcher than I was a fielder.
Yeah,
when I was a kid.
I batted eighth in my lineup, 8th or 9th, and it was like, well, if he makes it up to bat by the 3rd inning, hopefully by then we have enough of a lead or enough people on base that'll just whack it out of the park. If he strikes out, oh well.
Right?
All right. That brings us to the trivia section of the podcast, where Adam is going to take the reins of this one.
There's not. I thought that was going to take us into the NBA Cup.
Oh, I thought I'd jump over it since we're...
We'll do trivia last.
Okay.
So I wanted to. We haven't talked about NBA at all, and the NBA has been going on, no matter what we actually haven't talked about on the show.
There's this other sport called basketball where people dribble and throw it through a laundry basket. It's amazing.
It's called a peach basket, my friend.
Peach basket. Forgive me.
But no, so the NBA's been going on, and they started this new thing. Actually, last year was the first year, and they have an in-season tournament the way a lot of soccer tournaments do over in Europe. They'll do an in-season tournament, and it's really pretty cool. Like I'm sure you've seen, you saw one of the videos where they had one of the courts. How each team does one a little bit differently. It depends on the colors of the teams and where they're at and everything. They'll do a different one. But this has also helped, I think, a lot with viewership as well, bringing in viewers for the beginning of the season. And it's also, the players play a lot harder, too, in these cup games. Like, they put in a lot more, I can't say a lot more, but you can tell that there's a little bit more to the game when they're playing in one of the in-season tournament games than one of the non-tournament games during this time frame. And I was actually looking it up. And the first year that they did it, last year, ESPN and TNT reported a 26% increase in viewership over the entire season tournament as compared to 22 to 23. And even local broadcasts reported over a 20% increase in games in viewership.
So how does this work with the regular season? Like, I haven't really investigated it myself much, but I understand that, like, we're towards the beginning or middle of the season, and then they're playing these games for what they call the NBA Cup that they then award to somebody. But, like, are the tournament games, do they count towards your regular season standing?
Yes. So the only game that I don't know if every team will play 82 games except for the two teams that meet in the Cup finals. They will play 83.
Okay.
Otherwise, everyone else plays 82. So if you're one of those two that meet for the Cup finals, you'll actually end up playing a total of 83 games for the season, and it still counts towards your stats.
Okay.
So if you played all of the games, you would play 83 for that season instead of 82 if you played every game.
That's actually kind of huge.
9% of the league never plays all 82 games anymore. But yeah, I will say that they did say though that like in-person attendance has not gone up because they jacked the prices for the in-season tournament games.
Yeah.
Which is kind of dumb. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it means a little bit more, but at the same time, the only thing that's really different is the floor. Like,
Yeah.
they put a different floor down for the in-season tournament games. But yeah, it's pretty cool, and like I said, it's also neat how they do it because they'll take each conference and they'll divide them up into three groups. So basically, group play like they do in the Olympics, and then the top three teams get an automatic entry to the tournament, and then one wild card for each conference gets in, and points matter because the tiebreakers are actually based on point differential.
Okay.
So the more you win by, the bigger your differential is. So if you tie with someone, but you have a plus 75 and they've got a plus 50, you win.
Oh, so it's point differential and not points scored.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
so
interesting.
You're trying to score the most points and keep. So it's the biggest differential in wins for the in-season tournament games themselves.
Right, but if it's differential, right, it's not necessarily most points because you want to play defense in that too. Because you could maybe not score the most points, but have the highest differential and get that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah, you're aiming for the highest point differential. So there's been some games where they're getting blown out, and the team winning is still racking points and not really stopping like they do sometimes. Though it's in some games, if you're winning by a lot, you'll put the backups or third string guys in to get him some time. They haven't been doing that for in-season tournament games.
Yeah.
They want that point differential.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. And even this year, they've gone up. Night one this year of the tournament, they had 2 million viewers for one game. And they had, so the Golden State-Dallas game, and then they had New York, the Knicks and the Sixers were the other one. Combined, they drew an average of 1.93 million viewers for those two games.
Damn.
So, which was up 71% from last year's opening night doubleheader for the tournament. So, I mean, the tournament matchups can really bring in a lot of viewers and a lot of sponsorships. I mean, this is good for the sport as a whole. Not only is money coming in, but viewership's coming in. It just makes it better. And the beginning of the season is always rough for the NBA because they're trying to compete with the NFL, which no one can.
No one can.
Yeah, like I said, they averaged 1.9 million viewers for two games. NFL usually averages about 12 to 15 every week.
Right.
It's like,
yeah.
I mean, it's not even close. That going into it, but like, it still helps, and every little bit that they can draw more and more and stuff like this, I think helps. And it's just also pretty cool because the semifinals and the finals of the tournament are played in Vegas in a neutral site.
Oh, nice.
They have home court advantage for the finals.
Yeah.
And that's actually, I think this weekend is the semifinals, and then next Tuesday is the finals.
Nice.
Or something like that. So we're coming up on the finals for it. So it's a lot of fun to watch, and I just wanted to kind of bring it up and talk about the NBA because we really haven't yet since we've been focused mostly on the NFL, and we'll get more into the NBA as the season after we kind of more come to the wraps of the NFL season. We'll get more into the NBA and stuff. So we have stuff coming for that we'll move into, and new things are coming for that one. So I'm excited for that.
Well, real quick about tournaments. And I don't know if this was done on purpose. It may have been because they're on TNT, but right now is the Continental Classic over in AEW Wrestling. And I'll tell you what, man, the Continental Classic is the best tournament on U.S. soil. I mean, it's the Continental Classic, so they're in Mexico and Canada too. But on North American soil, it is, well, I shouldn't say that because I don't know if CML has got a better one. But of a North American wrestling company, there we go. North American Wrestling Company. American Wrestling Company. Yeah. It's a great tournament. Yeah. There we go. Get a little Macho Man Randy Savage for you.
Right? I love you some Macho Man. All right, that'll be it for us this week, guys. Don't forget to check us out on social media, YouTube, Amazon, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. All of them at Geeks and Greeks. We love you. We hope the coin toss life is ever in your favor. Peace out, guys.
See you next time. Same bat channel.